watching? Are you watching this? Are you watching this? Yeah. Are you watching this? No. You need to get with it. Are you watching this? We on a TV shit. Are you watching this? You don't wanna miss. Are you watching this? Stop canceling our shit.
So I wanted to start off by saying this morning I was making breakfast and I realized, well, something happened and made me realize, like, whoa, I'm actually in a really good headspace in life right now. Basically, I sharpened my knives, I think, Sunday, and I cut myself because I was like chopping onions. And instead of being like, fuck, like, this is gonna be the worst week ever or whatever, I was just like, you know what, shout out to my knife sharpener. Like, it's doing what it's meant to be doing. And I love those little reminders in life where it's like, it's like half glass full, half glass empty. And I realize right now in my mind, I'm a half glass full type of person.
I like that. I feel like you in general have a relatively positive attitude.
Oh, that's funny. No.
Or maybe it's like, are you trying to kind of convince, like, you say the happiest things to kind of convince yourself that like, I am happy.
Right. Because inside it's like real dread and like, yeah, not an optimist. Yeah. But anyways, let's get started.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Welcome to the Are You Watching This podcast, the podcast where we talk about TV shows you should be watching. I'm one of your hosts, Ellen.
I am Chelsea.
What have you been watching this week?
So I told you I did my homework. I did my homework. So I finally started watching Matlock.
Yay!
The only reason I hadn't yet was because I thought I needed Paramount Plus, and I have every streaming service except that one right now. And I'm like, I can't. Even though we have the podcast, I should be able to excuse it.
Yeah.
But because it's on CBS, I can get through Hulu.
Oh.
It's not an exclusive Paramount Plus show. It's a CBS show.
Yes.
So I started watching it. Agree. I like made a little note in my phone just to, okay, this is what I'm watching. I'm going to put a thumbs up emoji next to it.
Yay. You hear that? You all better be watching it next because it really is good. Did it have you gripped by the end of that first episode?
It did, and I think it's a very unique take on it. I think you're right, Kathy Bates is nailing it.
Right.
I think that it's funny, it's cute, it has enough drama to keep you going.
Yeah.
It's not too over dramatic. I mean, just a little.
Yeah. But
loved it.
I love that. Yay. That makes me so happy. Anything else? I mean, you got a whole list. Let's keep going.
Okay. So I went and I watched Class of '09. and I watched the whole entire thing.
Oh, wow.
All 8 episodes. Not because it was good. Not because it was
Don't
good.
say that.
No.
But also say it. Okay.
So the first 2 episodes are relatively good. It's not the most interesting show, but I was like, okay, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Okay. Hold on, sorry. Because we did a pilot episode. Any...
So the whole problem, one of the main problems is they have 5 main characters and they do little to no character establishment.
Okay.
Because they're trying to stuff too much in there in the 8 episodes.
Yeah.
By the 3rd episode, a building's blowing up.
Okay.
Yeah. So the premise is like, it was as if it was a show that had already been on for 10 years and was going on way too long.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
Also, what really bothered me is it was set like they do past, which is '09 when they met in the FBI Academy. Then they have the present, 2023, when it came out. And then the future, which was 2034. So 11 years later.
Yeah.
And it is high tech. They have like every car is electric and self-driving. She has a fake eye that they don't explain. I mean, they explain why she has it, but not how she got it.
Okay.
All of these houses are like, they'll read the barometrics of the person living there. I'm like, it's 2025 and our Bluetooth has yet to improve, and it doesn't connect half the time.
And also printers. I have big beef with the development of printers.
Exactly. So I was just like, you could have made it 2050.
Yeah. Got a little more for that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was too close.
How was the aging technology that they used on the characters?
It was relatively good.
Okay.
The wigs were not great. That was kind of what threw me out a little bit.
Okay. That's funny. Okay.
I mean, so the premise is kind of Minority Report-ish. They're developing the software that will predict if people are going to do crimes.
Okay.
Do crimes.
Commit crimes.
Yeah. Do crimes.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't have to watch it now.
Okay.
I did it for you.
I'm so glad you did the homework for us. Look at that.
Because
Someone take one for the team.
yeah, by episode 3 I had no interest in the characters.
Yeah.
I was a little curious about the storyline, and then I made it to episode 5, and I was like, well, I got 3 more to go at this point.
Yep. That happened to me with one of the shows I've been watching this past week, but we'll get there.
Well, which one was that?
The Agency.
Okay.
That is, I want to say that's a Paramount Plus
Yes.
show. Yes,
Yes.
not a CBS show.
Mm-hmm.
Got sold by the cast. And again, it was one of those where you thought, oh, okay, this is going to be big. People will talk about it. Michael Fassbender, Jodie Turner, Richard Gere. Oh, there's someone I'm missing that I love, but I wrote him
It's
down.
the
Jeffrey,
guy.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I started watching it, and I was watching it weekly, actually. No, I let it have like 4 episodes, then I binged that, and then I started watching it weekly. By episode, it's a 10-episode season for this first season. By episode 6, I was over it, but I just had to commit, and it really, really bothered me. But the last 2 episodes, 9 and 10, I literally just, as I'm doing work, I just put it on. And then I looked up if it got renewed for season 2. At first, I also thought it was just a limited series. No, it's a whole like TV show with seasons, and it got renewed for season 2.
I remember when that trailer came out. I think we sent it to each other. We talked about it, and it did. I was like, this show's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
So I'm very sad that it's not.
It's not. But George Clooney's one of the producers, so you know he has big say in Hollywood, I feel like. And also, what else did I find out? Oh, it was a show based off of a French TV show of the same premise.
Okay.
So it's just like a U.S. adaptation. So I think that show also had a couple of seasons. But honestly, nothing to write home about.
Bummer.
Watch if you want. It's like an action thriller. The premise is a CIA agent comes home after being in a covert mission. In that life, he fell in love with this person, this lady, played by Jodie Turner, and he comes back to London. She comes to London, and he kind of goes back undercover, but he's not allowed to. But then I did not like it. I'm gonna put my feet firm on that.
All right, so 2 shows that you don't have to watch: Class of '09 and The Agency.
What else did you watch?
So actually, I was meaning to watch it, but I watched so much other stuff that I didn't get around to it until right before I left to come here. I watched the first episode of Paradise.
Yes, me too.
And I liked it. I was curious about it, and it seems like James Morrison's going to be in it for a little bit.
Yes.
I hate his character, so that's
You
a bummer.
do?
He's an asshole
The
to.
president is not.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's
His character kind of like softens up. It seems like
yeah,
you.
yeah. He's a bit charming.
But the twist at the end, it got me. I was like, that was good. That was good.
Yes, it was one of my favorite pilots that I've seen
Yes.
so far.
Yeah.
Lately. Yeah. It really. It's a twist you really don't see coming.
You really don't.
Yeah.
The trailers gave nothing of it.
Nothing.
Didn't have this like spin to it.
No, nothing. And we won't even tell you because that reveal is so epic that
And you won't even be able to guess what it is until it happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad you watched that because, yeah, I wanted to talk about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's 2 episodes out so far.
3.
3, okay. But they're coming out weekly.
After this week.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So 3 dropped.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I'm going to go home and probably watch the other 2.
I was watching episode 2 before coming here. Yeah. And I was like trying to finish it, but I was like, no, I have to pay attention. So whatever. I had to hit pause, but I loved it.
I'm glad. I was really happy that it ended up being that good. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I just watched Class of '09. Like, what if it's not, it's also not good? And
Yeah.
I'm just, kind of getting all these duds of shows.
But then did you see that, like, is it CBS or No, because it's a Hulu FX show. But I want to say it is coming out on a network channel.
Would it be just FX or?
I feel like FX is
Oh yeah,
cable.
maybe ABC.
I think it's ABC.
Okay.
So they released I blanked on this word, a press release on the show regarding the release. So they said they would drop 3 episodes on Hulu, FX, and then Tuesday they're going to release it on on network TV. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, the networks are like, they're really backing this. So I had an inkling it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And it really did turn out to be great.
Yeah.
Dan Fogelman, he knows how to write.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last time. I forgot that was him. Yeah, which kind of makes more sense because the trailers made it seem a little bit more action packed.
Yes.
And there is part of that.
Yeah.
But it's more relationships.
Yes, that's his bread and butter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I wrote for the James Marsden character, he needs to be on more things. James Marsden as an actor in general. Yeah. But yeah, he's a bit of an asshole, his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did think, I was like, I guess presidents are all that way.
Yeah. They are.
Well, if we're going to talk about James Marsden, this leads into then a show. I was going to mention this last, but I think this is kind of a good segue.
Okay.
The Joe Schmo Show.
You watched that?
Oh, did I? Oh, did I? And I think episode 2's out now, or it comes out tonight. It is wild. So, again, the premise is kind of like Jury Duty. There's one guy, his name's Ben, and he does not know that everything's fake around him. And he is going into a reality show. So he has signed up for a reality show. It's kind of Big Brother-esque.
Okay.
So James Marsden was in Jury Duty, so that's kind of the connection. But also in this one, they have the guy that played the kid in Stuart Little and Jerry Maguire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him in anything since.
I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah. Like the kid who played.
Yeah. But he's an adult now.
Yeah. I'm like, do I even know what he looks like as an adult?
The same. Just taller.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But it was, I'm going to watch another episode. I'm still not sure how I'll feel about it. It was so wild though, because they make up a reality show for him to go on and they call it The GOAT, and it makes absolutely no sense. It's not supposed to make sense, and it's meant to confuse him. So then I feel bad because I was just thinking the whole time, I was like, if I was in this scenario, I would think that I was losing my mind, because I'd be like, no, everybody around him acts like they understand the game because it's pre-planned.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh God, I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah. And he's not catching on, like,
So
it's
it's one part of it is that the reality show that he signed up for is only 10 days. So that's kind of nice. They're kind of condensing it.
Yeah.
He did, during the first elimination of the GOAT, the lady that got eliminated, he was like, she was an actor. But I think he just thought that she was planted to like amp up the reality show.
Yeah.
Not that it all was fake.
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. And you said that's on PBS? TBS?
TBS. Imagine PBS.
TBS.
Yeah, TBS.
Okay.
I think it's kind of a fun, interesting watch. There's only one episode out that I've watched.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to really like how they end up treating this guy.
Yeah.
They're not being mean, but it feels a little
Like everyone is in on a joke on somebody.
Yes.
And it feels a bit bully. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I would not have the stomach for it. Like if anyone set me up in that way, I would murder everybody involved immediately after.
And the actors too, they're such a main part of it, and you watch them in the background, and that part too, I was like, that's just so weird. Imagine just everything you do for 10 days straight is fake.
Yeah.
I would not like that.
No, not at all. Yeah, no, thank you. Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
I think you should just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch it.
Yeah.
I think it's 40 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not like a huge.
Jury Duty was shorter. It was like a
Yeah.
20 or whatever. Okay. Okay. So since we're on a kind of ride of TV shows that we were looking forward to, and we did end up watching, I watched Prime Target.
I did too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, something I'll watch here and there if I have nothing else to watch, but I feel like there wasn't the story, but the pilot episode wasn't like as convincing as I would have liked it to be, and the characters weren't as, I don't care, like, all right, yeah, they're cute, but I'm not worried about their well-being.
Same. I might watch it if I see that if it's like promoted and put in my face.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the only thing that I really felt watching that show was stressed because it gave me flashback to Calc 2, seeing all those formulas, and my professor would, whenever we would take a test, we'd sit down and he's like, just imagine you can't leave this room until you answer all of these questions correctly. And that to me was traumatizing. So then watching all those formulas, I was like, no.
And you did engineering, right?
Chemistry.
Yeah. But, a lot of math? Okay.
Yeah, just depends on kind of what you're doing, but you don't need Calc 2, I can tell you that. Not what I was doing.
Right. Yeah, I saw those numbers and I was like, I'm just gonna focus on the other parts of the story.
Yeah. Was there another Apple TV show that you were gonna watch that was coming out, or?
Just that, yeah. The other show that I was waiting to come out that comes out today being not today, but was Watson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will definitely watch that, and I'll let you guys know how I like it, the pilot episode.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, so I want you to watch it before. Or maybe I'll watch it. And then
I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
take one for the team. You did Class of 09, and you did the whole thing.
I
so
did.
At least I could do.
The only other thing that I watched that I want to talk about at least is The Pit. So I caught up. I watched all 4 episodes that are out.
Yeah.
Still feel the same way.
Hey.
I do like how the episodes are going. So it starts at 7 a.m. That's the first episode. The next episode's 8 a.m. So it's moving you through the day, hour by hour. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And there's only one character that I like, and it's the head nurse of the emergency room. And I only really like her because there's a scene where she's smoking outside, and I like a nurse that smokes. I just find it very endearing.
Right.
I love it. So she's the only character that's like relatable.
Yeah.
In any form or fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
But, or did you have another show?
No.
Okay. This will then tie into the nominations.
Oh, okay. Wait, I do have another show.
Okay, sorry.
I do want to say I think I've landed on I'm not going to watch The Pit.
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. You're not missing out on revolutionary TV.
Yeah, I thought so. So my next show that I watched, just in case people thought this was like a highbrow podcast, it is not. My next one's a reality TV show. That's on Netflix. You know what? Let me just double check the name because it's one that kind of remix because it's too long of a name. Okay. Young, Famous, and African.
Okay.
It's a reality TV show based they shoot it in Johannesburg, South Africa with, there's a stylist, a singer, like basically young, famous Africans. They're not that young. Like half the cast is, okay, not half, but like some of the cast is not that young. For me, young is like 20s.
Yeah.
Right? I would say half is like in their 30s.
Oh,
so.
yeah, that's...
Yeah, but whatever. Season 1, amazing. If people don't know, I'm from Tanzania, so I got family in Tanzania, and also I lived in South Africa, so I got family there too. So when that show first came out, it was like we were really excited about it, because also there is a musician on there from Tanzania. His name's Diamond. And he is the only Tanzanian on the show, and he's big. He's like probably our biggest international artist. Season 1 was great. Season 2 ditched it halfway through, sucked. Nobody talked about it. Season 3 came out maybe 2 weeks ago. I gave it a week, but on my social media, like all my cousins' stories, all my friends' stories were like they were watching it, they loved it. So I was like, all right, let me sit down and finally watch it. A great season. Highly recommend that season. Yeah, the drama was giving. There were some storylines where they just played up the situation, but you knew it wasn't the case. But it was just a season of reality TV where you question people's, sanity. Yeah. Yeah, and that was great. But there were also really good heartfelt moments, which I loved.
Do I need to watch the first 2 seasons to enjoy the 3rd season?
So, I don't. It's like I want to say it's like really trashy. It's not trashy. It's just maybe. Do you need to watch the first? Yeah, you need to watch at least the first season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could probably commit to that.
It's great. I love it.
I don't necessarily really want to talk about this, but I wanted to have a brief discussion. Have you watched Selling Sunset?
Have I?
Okay. We can talk. I want to talk about this down the road then.
Yes.
I've not. But I went to a new nail place. The other nail place I go to, it's always The Voice or America's Got Talent. I've watched every episode. Yes. Young Sheldon. I've watched all the Voice episodes, and I've never sat down to actually watch it.
Yeah.
This place that I went to, Selling Sunset, nonstop, episode after episode, and I never sat down and watched it, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
It is, I was like, who are these people?
Yeah.
It is, I think, that opinion's a little harsh. I'll keep it.
You can say it. They're terrible people on that show.
I think kind of what's wrong with America.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I'm like, oh, I don't know, but I also was like, I want to keep watching this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. It's like you're watching something that you know is so terrible, but you stomach it anyway because it's like, well, yeah, that is America. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the richness and the fakeness and
it's so much of all of that. Okay.
It's insane.
I think we can have a further conversation about it though, because I might
get into it. I can't believe you don't watch it. You need to.
I know, but it's one of those that I didn't really think about getting into until I felt a little too late, and so I was a little overwhelmed. Kind of the same with Vanderpump Rules.
Yes.
I was too late to it.
I agree with that. And everyone will tell you, everyone and their mom will tell you, watch Vanderpump Rules. And then you look and you're like, wait, how many seasons? And like 40-minute episode? It's a commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's go to the nominations. Who you got?
Yes. For your considerations, I'm just going to go out and throw in Paradise. I think they'll get a Best Drama nom. And I think from the pilot and from what I watched on that second episode, it will get a nomination. And I only also say this because last Emmys, the show on Apple TV with Idris Elba.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it's called.
I don't think the show got nominated, but Idris did. And I'm just looking up the show. Hijack.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, okay, if he was able to get that nomination for that kind of like action kind of role, I think the show could get a nomination, depending on also what drops, honestly. But I'm pretty solid it'll get a nomination. I was gonna do Sterling, and I want to do that, but I'm gonna let it marinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I put down was I think that The Pit is gonna get some kind of nomination.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I'm predicting that's going to happen, but I don't know for what yet. So I'm going to watch more episodes and figure out if it's just for the show, is it for a specific actor? But I'm just like, I know the show's going to get some kind of nomination.
Yeah.
Some kind of nomination.
Honestly, it's getting a really good review on the internet.
By who? By who?
People. So I'm not going to name names, but they know who they are.
Okay, well, the other thing that I nominated, and this kind of is a little out of what I think were intended or have been doing in the past 2 episodes, is Severance, the new intro. So they won a creative Emmy in 2023 for the intro, and it's the same artist, Oliver Latta, who's a 3D artist. The new intro is just even better somehow. Yeah. And so I think that he definitely deserves a nomination and probably another win.
That's awesome. I like that you put that in there.
And I think what's interesting too, I tried to confirm this for the new intro and I couldn't find it, but it might come out later. But for the original one or for season 1, there's no AI used for it. So he does all of this 3D rendering like on a computer,
Yeah.
himself. So
That's so cool.
I'm sure he probably did that for this one too.
Yeah, it's way more trippier as we've talked about. Yeah. But I like that nomination. I hope they get it.
I think so too.
I'm trying to think if I have anything else to nominate, and I don't know. The only thing that really impressed me this week was Paradise.
I think that was a shining star.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess on to our topic of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, we want to talk about the TV shows that shaped us. And I think we're going to tackle it through eras, like childhood, adolescent, teenage, whatever, 20s, and now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly how I broke it down.
Oh, perfect. Yep. Did you find this task to be harder than you thought it would be?
Yes and no. I tried not to overthink it. So when I was sitting down, I was like, what shows do I just remember having an impact on me when I was a teenager? And I just like wrote the first like 3 that came to my mind.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I didn't mention this one. But I was like, you know what? It's not what came to my mind. And when I really think about it, it wasn't one that was defining.
Yeah. Okay. So we start with childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You can start.
Well, so this is the only one I kind of cheated a smidge.
Yeah.
I just did Nickelodeon. So I was a Nickelodeon kid.
Yes.
I watched all of the cartoons, all of Real Monsters, Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and I think that very much shaped my brain. I don't know in a good way, but it did.
Ren and Stimpy was creepy, so that's funny.
All that, I think,
Yeah.
kind of instilled my love for SNL.
Yeah.
And, Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah.
Loved that show.
Yeah. Who was that actress?
Melissa Joan.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, wow. We've had her for a while.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And because then she was in Sabrina. I love that
Yes,
one
I
too.
loved, yes. When I like Googled, first I wrote what was on my brain, and then I Googled, and I was like, oh, yeah, that show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Nickelodeon's a good one, and allowed, because I also wrote Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wrote That's So Raven,
Yes.
and I think I was just trying to pinpoint that specific TV show from Disney Channel that really impacted me. But I also wrote Lizzie McGuire, Phil of the Future, Proud Family, Sister Sister. I don't know what channel Sister was on in the States. When I looked it up, it said CW, but I don't know if that's just what it's...
I thought it was on ABC for a while, but then it went to like they were owned by the same company at the time, so
Yeah.
it definitely played on the Disney Channel as well, but I
Yeah.
don't know if it's where it originally aired.
Yeah. But yeah, the Disney Channel, I was a Disney Channel kid.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And That's So Raven Baxter, her family. I just thought she was funny. I thought the premise was really cool. I try to do the eye stare in my little moments of, thinking the camera's on me as a child. Great show. And we've talked about this before, but I think we got really spoiled and lucky with the time we grew up in, because they don't do it like that anymore, at least from what I see.
The real life kids shows now are, I don't know, they're lacking something.
Yeah.
And not that That's So Raven was the best written show in the whole entire world.
No.
But that had a little bit more originality.
Yeah.
Characters, relationships.
Yeah.
were closer.
Agreed. Even like Sweet Life, Zack and Cody, Hannah Montana, it was a well-written story and premise, and all the characters made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful that we grew up during that time. And I think as you credit all that and stuff, I credit That's a Raven for kind of my humor, I would say, too. I thought she was really, really funny. Funnier than people give her credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's all I have for childhood.
Yeah.
Do you have it anymore?
No, again, yeah, it was just kind of that whole Nickelodeon vibe.
Yeah, era. I had Keenan and Kel for Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Yeah. That really
Yes.
shaped me too. Yeah.
I think, has Keenan just been in the same studio since after Mighty Ducks?
Talk about a 360 deal. Like,
Yeah.
he is locked in for life, it seems. But he's off of SNL now, right?
No.
No?
Oh,
I thought they had like a whole retirement party for. No?
he's still on there.
Oh, no. This is getting to be like abuse. Oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I hope he's happy.
So Tina Fey writes in her book about SNL that the thing about like high school and college, they tell you when you're ready to leave, and she's like, in SNL, like they, unless you get fired, like you can just kind of stay around.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of make that choice to actually leave, and
So,
I guess he's just not ready to do it. Maybe he's just waiting for getting a little bit closer to retirement age.
I mean, if you're comfy, if you're comfy. And, you know, if they're paying you well, it's a steady job, you know. He kills it. He will be an SNL legend by the end of it. So he already is, truly. Yeah. So
I mean, if I had his job at SNL, I also would not leave. I would wait until they were like, ma'am, you got to get out of here.
that's funny, but it's insane to think about that. Like a lot of everybody has left, and he has the last standing, guy on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yeah, Keenan and Kel, love him. Okay, so then adolescent, pubescent, teenage years. What did you have?
So I had preteen, 10 to 12. So this is a little bit more narrow. But this is where I wrote Lizzie McGuire, because I was a little bit older. That was closer to middle school age for me.
Yeah.
And then As Told by Ginger.
Yes, I have that written down too. I also still watch that sometimes.
Yeah, I watched like one episode kind of recently. I think it was on YouTube or
Yeah.
something. And I was like, this show is good.
It's so good. And I know I give Paramount Plus like a lot of airtime on this podcast, but it is also streaming on Paramount Plus. So
How many seasons are there?
I want to say 3.
Yeah, they're not enough. That was a show that got canceled way too soon.
Way too soon. Agreed. And I really loved it. Okay. I would say I matured really early in life. I don't know. I went through puberty in Australia. And I would say the culture there is more, I don't know, crass and crude and not as polite. And,
Yeah, and it seems like teenagers, like even younger teenagers, are more or less treated like an adult.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah.
they're not as, it's not even like adult responsibilities, but just they're not as sheltered. They don't
Yeah.
have like, oh, you can't be out late. It's just,
Yeah.
like, be careful.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it is because it's like a safe society in general.
What are you
Like,
saying about here?
we all know what America is. But so when I thought puberty, teenage years, I realized it was actually the first time I got into like binge watching, but like through downloading, you know, piracy. And I couldn't remember which show it was. I want to say it was The OC, but I wrote down The OC, One Tree Hill, Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Whichever one. It could have been, I think it was also 2 at a time, but I remember specifically The OC and how that really opened up and catered to my pubescent mind. And yeah, that was really great. Teenage drama, coming of age drama, all 3 shows. And that is also why I'll forever love the CW.
We're going to have a whole episode on the CW
Yeah.
and that time, that like 10 years of CW
Shows.
which the OC technically, at least here it was on Fox, but
Oh, it
it's the same vibe.
Okay.
Same.
It was. Yeah, it was the same vibe. I think so. So then, like, late teens?
Yeah.
time? Or
So-
not late teens, but 18.
Yeah.
18 plus.
Okay, so if we're doing 18 plus after that, one thing I want to say, As Told by Ginger, I loved it so much that I wanted my parents to call me Ginger, and my mom still at Christmas time labels like a gift to Ginger.
Oh, I love that so
Yeah.
much. Oh, that's a really cool fact
Yeah.
about you.
So you can call me Ginger.
All right. Oh, your nickname will be Ginger on the show.
Perfect.
Actually, like from now on, just like be like, and I'm Ginger when we are doing the intro.
So I did like the preteen, so that was 10 to 12, and I did 13 to 18.
Okay.
So, and that's where I put the OC.
Okay.
So I had the OC on there, which I thought I'd be seeing those actors around a lot more.
Agreed.
Now, thankfully, we're getting some more of Seth.
Yes. Adam Brody.
Yeah, Adam Brody.
Yes.
That was-
My everything. Let me not be weird, but love him down.
I'm excited when we'll both be super hyped when that Nobody Wants This season 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is so far away, but
It'll be this year.
yeah.
I hope. It better be this year.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I had that one. I had Degrassi as well. So
Okay.
it's kind of Degrassi is where it started into that just angsty teen, not really appropriate for a 10 or like a 13-year-old to be watching, even though that's its target audience.
Yes.
And then that led into the OC, and then I just also remember, I guess when I was 14 watching Lost when it
Yeah.
came out, and
Yeah.
that was a pivotal show.
Did you carry on throughout the end? Like, did you?
Yeah, I didn't watch it weekly. I think in the last 2 seasons, I just watched it when it came out on DVD.
Yeah.
But it definitely was like that show that you went into school and everybody was talking about it. So,
Yeah.
did you watch Lost?
Yeah. I could see that. It wasn't that big of a deal in Australia, but when I came here, I think it was in the ending of, I think it was like 3 more seasons left or 2, and I remember seeing it on TV because it was network TV, right? That was Fox, right?
ABC.
Oh, ABC.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and it was a big deal. I was like, okay. And I started to watch it. Yeah.
I've been tempted to go back and rewatch it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to. Maybe it just needs to stay that safe place in my brain
Yeah.
and not ruin it for myself. But maybe also it'll be even better the second time around because I'm older, so I'll like comprehend more of what's actually happening.
Yeah,
maybe.
true. Maybe. There's actually a friend of mine right now who is watching it, and they're loving it.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the rewatch will be worth it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just have to find. I was about to say I need to find time to watch all like 10 seasons. Yet I watched all 11 seasons of Shameless in 1 month, so I'm acting like that's not possible.
Yeah.
As if like, oh, heaven forbid, how am I going to do that?
I mean, I don't even know how you did Shameless.
I mean, most of the time it was just the background. I was doing the dishes. I was working. I was doing other stuff.
Yeah.
90% of the time, especially towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
So I wasn't just like actively glued to it for
Yeah.
God knows how many hours that was.
Because what was that, 8 seasons?
I think it's 11, isn't it?
Shit. Yeah.
Maybe it is just 8, but still.
It's a lot. And again, 40-something minute episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last one I had on the like 13 to 18, because The Office came out, so I think we're about 3.5, 4 years apart. So it came out when I was in my junior year of high school. And it was one of those shows that definitely changed. It was definitely a new show of that type, that like documentary type.
Yes.
So that paved the way for all these other shows.
Yeah.
And another one that everybody was just talking about.
I agree with that.
Became kind of a cult classic pretty quick.
Yeah. I didn't get into it until maybe like the 3rd season. But it was talked about. I realized also doing this list, I didn't get into comedy television until later.
So, and mine's reversed because I did put Lost in the OC, but I had a harder time thinking of the drama shows, and all that was really coming to my head were comedies.
That's funny. Interesting. Good balance. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. There was a moment here. I know we're doing like timelines, but this is within my teenage years. Like, I want to say later teens. Bones. I've talked about it before. I will always give it a shout out. It was my first procedural show. My first. Well, not my first, because they had that in TV shows, but I guess my first adult show of like a will they won't they with the two main characters. What else did I write about it? And then also with like her team, because she was an archaeologist.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I really, really loved it. I binged, I think, the first 2 seasons, and then I watched, or maybe 3, and then I watched it every week. And then I also got like the box sets. Like I was a devoted Bones fan. And some people do like NCIS or Criminal Minds or stuff like that, but for me it was Bones.
I've heard Bones is kind of out of those type of TV shows is the one that I hear people talk the most highly about.
Yeah.
I've heard multiple people, and it's a lot of people's favorite show.
Okay.
As well.
I feel like not enough people talk about it. So sometimes I feel like whispering it, like, I like Bones.
Just to see if like somebody responds.
Yeah. But I'm happy to hear that. I'll be a little more proud loving it. Even though I have been pretty proud about it on this podcast.
Yeah. I've actually never sat down and watched it. I've definitely watched it. It is a show that even now you turn on the TV and there's probably a channel playing it.
Probably, yeah.
But I've never sat down and watched it. How many seasons were there?
I want to say, no, I'm just going to say 8 to everything.
That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. Maybe 6, 7, 8. The last 2 were like whatever. They finally got together, and listen, it's been 15 years. If you haven't watched it, this is not a spoiler. This is just you deserving to get shit ruined for not watching the best show ever. No, it's not. But the last 2 seasons were whatever. So I think I didn't check out. I just watched it later and finished it off, but I did finish it.
Would you say it's kind of one of your comfort shows that you go to now?
No, I'm not a big comfort show person.
Okay.
I'm more of my comfort is what's new. Let me find something new to watch. Yeah, I don't go back and watch shows for comfort. I will go back and watch shows to either just like experience it in a different time or because I really just don't remember.
Okay, learned that about you then.
And then my next one, and this one I'm pretty proud of. I feel like everyone has a HBO show. Sex and the City, The Wire, The Sopranos. For me, Entourage.
Yeah, you talked about that last episode.
Yeah. Binge that. It was sexually charged. Again, teenage years. It was about like Hollywood and these group of guys, and I loved it. I loved the show hard. They even made a movie about it. Yes. I even when Twitter was first about, I like followed the creator. I don't anymore. I was a big fan of Entourage.
So you watched that in high school, or like okay?
And I think it ended like even like while I was in high school.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so I want to say
that's about right.
Maybe like 15.
Wow, that's
when I tell you matured really quick. Yeah.
Well, also I guess your parents. Did they know what you were watching? Did they not care what you were watching?
No. So I, a first-generation immigrant. So my parents were more so concentrated on, making it for the family. So it was like work, and we were left to our own devices. So I also had to just take more responsibility of myself. So I was like doing cooking, and my brothers and I are very self-sufficient. So then because I was at home, all I did was watch TV. If we weren't at work with them, I was at home just in my room watching what I could download on LimeWire and binge and watch, or, at the same time it was coming out, be on TV and watch it. Yeah.
Getting all those viruses on your laptop.
Yeah.
Hoping it does not crash.
Worth it, right.
And also hoping that the episode that you were downloading was actually
the episode, yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be like, what is this?
Right.
Why would you even label it this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, LimeWire.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I mean, you can obviously still pirate stuff, but things are so accessible now that it's almost easier just to be like, I'll just pay for a month so I can watch this movie instead of trying to find it on a specific website and whatever.
I mean, it made us use our brains more, obviously, because then you had to figure out what to download, how to download it, and all this shit. And now it's just so accessible that it's really dumbed us down. But I go both ways, because also when we could download it, it would be on your computer for as long as you wanted it to be, right? And now a lot of people's complaints about streaming is like there's no ownership and shit, which something to think about. Honestly, I've been thinking about it more and more and more in terms of like getting DVDs and hard copies of shit.
Same, because we don't even have a DVD player.
Yeah.
I have an Xbox. It doesn't have a DVD. Like,
Oh,
it
they
does
took them out?
I think there's models that you can get.
Yeah.
That don't have them. No, I don't play it. It's not mine.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I have thought about that too, because there are certain movies and TV shows that you just can't stream for a year. I guess probably nobody's bought it, or it's outside of, you can't put it out there for streaming.
Yeah.
And you can't even buy it on digital copies. So you have to find them online.
Yeah.
Like physical DVDs.
Yeah.
So I've thought about that. And also I'm like, what if the internet goes out?
Exactly.
What am I going to watch?
Exactly. Like, and it's becoming more and more of a possibility. So I'm really thinking about collecting some DVDs and getting a DVD player. Yeah.
There is, what I've been doing is, if there's a TV show that I know that I'll watch multiple times, or a movie, I will buy it through Apple. So it's not physically, but like I have that in my library, and it's downloaded, and so I don't have to worry about if I can have access to it again.
Yeah.
Which really the only show that I did that for was Mad Men, because it's 7 seasons. I do rewatch that every couple of years, because there's so much that happens.
Yeah.
I don't remember half of it, and it's a show that is nice to revisit.
I haven't really sat down and watched Mad Men. I know it's a big one, something people love, and I know I need to tackle one day, and I will.
Yeah, I have Mad Men. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But I have that farther down, and the only way that I was able to get into it, and I've told you this, and you thought I was crazy, but I think I can make it make more sense to you. I tried to watch it from the beginning. It was too slow, and so I just jumped in season 3 or 4.
Still crazy. Like,
okay, but here,
also repeating exactly word for word now you explained it last time.
but so yes, and so then I just didn't go back and rewatch season 1 or 2 until after I'd already watched the whole thing. And then it was more entertaining. Here,
It's excruciating to hear, by the way.
think about this though. I tried to start watching it, and it was on Netflix, right, streaming, and it was still actively on TV. So I just happened to be scrolling through one day, and it was on, and so I was like, let me see if I like it. I'm curious, and I did, and so I just jumped from there. You figure out the rest later.
No,
Come on.
that's still insane, and I need people to back me up on here.
I need
or
people to
if
back
you
me
are
up.
Chelsea, reveal yourself so we can get you all arrested.
I've started watching a lot of good shows that way, and sometimes I have to, because my husband Drake will start watching a show without me, because he's a teacher, so he'll have summers off and Christmas or winter break off.
Yeah.
So he'll start watching TV shows, and I come home and he's already watched 4 episodes, and
just jump right in.
I do. I'm like, he's like, do you want to catch up? I'm like, I'll figure it out, and I figure it out.
That's insane, because the whole point is to know where these characters started off, right? So then you're jumping in. Okay, maybe I could understand it if you jump in, cool, you maybe taking 2 episodes, and then you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go now and catch up from the beginning. That's what I'm saying. Oh my god. You instead say, you know what, screw those first 2 seasons and 3, let me just from here on.
Okay, I did go back and rewatch the first 2 seasons of Mad Men.
Right,
eventually.
but after you've probably watched,
Yes.
that's
And I've watched Peaky Blinders. I didn't see the first 2 seasons. I saw the rest of them. I watched The Boys. I didn't see the first at least 2 episodes, if not more.
okay. Oh god.
I figured it out.
No, definitely not. This is not what we're promoting on this podcast. Watch shit from the beginning.
I was very confused in Peaky Blinders.
Yes.
For 50%
Also, I feel like
of
they
it.
change characters. Yes.
That one, I was pretty lost, but I could follow the main characters along I was just watching Gillian Murphy, okay? That's all I really cared about.
But if you watched him from the start, you would have been even more obsessed and loved.
I believe that. I'm not saying that my method is like the correct way. I just think it's a way to get into a show that you just can't get into from the jump.
This hurts my soul so bad.
Just find an episode. Go online and Google what's the best episode of this
Heck
show.
no, don't do that. No.
And start there.
Heck no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Well,
That is so funny that you generally do that. And Mad Men. You said Mad Men was the first one you did that with? But you did that with Mad Men.
yeah, that's the first one that I actively remember.
Which one did you do? What was the first TV show you did that with? Do you remember?
It was either It was Mad Men.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's nuts. That's crazy. How old were you?
23?
Okay.
22?
Okay.
I don't know, around there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What was also funny is that my parents were actively watching it on TV and like were telling me about it, and they were so into it, and I was like, whatever. And then they stopped watching it and I started watching it.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I really do hope you kick this habit
Never.
one of these days.
Never.
It's not good for your health. I don't know. I could never.
Critical thinking skills. I have to really apply those because I have no idea about what's happening.
Right. Filling in the blank, just like making up the backstory. That's. Oh my God.
It works for me. Okay.
And that is what's so beautiful about life, how like different people are. You know, different, crazy. I don't know.
Whatever. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay.
So that was teens, right? So now we're kind of in, I have like young adult college, 20s.
Okay. I'm gonna go from like senior year.
Yeah.
Just because I remember this one senior year. And I think that's also when I realized I did comedy until later. I feel like my comedies I wrote down was like My Wife and Kids.
I loved that show. I still watch it if I see it on TV.
Yes.
It is
like you can't see it on TV and not finish the episode.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It was just a sweet show. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Was it Damian Wayans?
Wayans,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
Because
killed that
Campbell.
character.
Yes, I love.
And he's
love him.
very handsome, and his son's very handsome.
Yes. And speaking of his son, so then I watched New Girl. I believe it came out maybe junior year or senior year of my high school, and I was obsessed. It was everything, and I remember I had a friendship group, and I was like, "You guys have to watch the show," and I would label them the characters. So my friend Cole was Schmidt. Me and my best friend Kat, we were Jess and shit. What's her friend's name? Whatever. That's hilarious that I don't remember. But I loved it so much. And then they watched it and they loved it too. And honestly, it was probably in that moment where I like knew I had great taste in TV shows. Like truly, I was like, people need to listen to me more. So New Girl was a defining TV show for me. And it's funny because, like, you know, people would say 30 Rock or Scrubs or Arrested Development or Friends. But I really didn't get into those until later. Yeah.
Yeah, I put 30 Rock later.
Yeah.
That's more of college age. I didn't watch it when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But I did like New Girl. It wasn't like a defining show for me. It was more of a comfort show.
Yeah.
That was a show that it felt comfortable watching.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything super scary that was going to happen or too sad. It was going to be
Stakes
funny.
weren't high.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Just friendship. Yeah.
and romance.
Yes. What about you?
So this is where I have Mad Men and 30 Rock. And I also put Arrested Development here. So I started watching it when I was 12, when it first was on TV.
Yes.
Which
So
I should not have been. It was on network TV, so on Fox, so it wasn't that inappropriate. But my family and I would sit down and watch it. But it was canceled after 2 or 3 seasons, and then it got picked up through Netflix.
Yeah.
So I revisited it in college, and I just it definitely shaped my taste in comedy and TV
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
It definitely helps you get into the rhythm of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
similar humor.
Yes.
Except that Always Sunny, they're just terrible people.
They
Just-
are.
The Bluths are not good people, but
They're not. They're
It's
not
Always
at
Sunny.
all.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
But 30 Rock is definitely that's just a defining show for me. It definitely became a comfort show.
Yeah.
But I can rewatch that show and there's a new joke that I didn't notice the first time.
Yeah.
It's so funny. The relationships are funny. The Jack's business side is hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
The writing on it in terms of comedy is close to perfect
Yes.
as like a comedy TV show goes.
Yeah.
I agree. There are bits that it stays with you because you either laughed so hard or you're like, holy shit, that was so clever, or like you related to but you didn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. I truly, and it was also silly. With what was the blonde girl?
Jenna Maroney.
Yes. Yeah.
Jane Krasowski,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Which she's in Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes. I watched that. Did you watch that?
I watched the first half. It didn't catch me right away, but I do want to watch it because it looks very, very funny. I always see clips on the internet, and I'm like, gosh, that's such a funny clip. I need to.
It's good.
Watch
I liked
it.
At least the first two seasons were very solid. I do think Jenna Maroney, that's the actress's name?
Jane Krasowski.
Jane Krasowski. She kind of plays the same characters. Yeah, but that's all right. She nails it, so we'll allow it. Also, the cast of 30 Rock, I thought they would also go on to do bigger things, but
I'm trying to think. I mean, Alec Baldwin has 7 kids now.
yes. And apparently they just got a reality TV show. Did you see that?
Yeah, TLC. I probably will at least watch one episode just to see what it's
How
about.
crazy his wife apparently is. Not go too in on her, but yeah.
Yeah. So, did you have any other ones for like college,
Yes.
early 20s?
I think the pinnacle of pinnacles where people definitely will be like associating me with, if you know me, Grey's Anatomy. That journey in those first like 6 seasons, insane. It was probably the first like cathartic show I ever watched.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it.
I used to even call it my therapy at times, just because it would give me like an emotional release, or there was some shit that I saw myself in a character, but I didn't really want to admit or something, and I saw it play out, and I don't know, it was just relatable at times, but also great drama, also, spicy, and just cathartic, and I really, really loved it. And again, I think those first couple of seasons are unbeaten in the terms of like TV drama network shows.
Grey's Anatomy definitely has a huge impact. What also comes to mind when I think of Grey's Anatomy and the OC is they had such great soundtracks.
Yes.
I mean, just
Agreed.
good music. I mean, we've got the
One Tree
Freddy.
Hill too, by the way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because I would actually,
Download, like,
yes.
listen, yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
I love soundtracks because
Yeah.
it's like a little mixtape.
Yeah.
And it's such a great way to hear a bunch of different artists, learn new artists.
Yeah.
And those were the OC mix volume 1, volume 2.
Yes.
Loved them.
I agree.
Loved
I
them.
agree. Me too. And then I think another thing I want to add about Grey's is that people I don't know a lot of people, but people in my life rewatch it, specifically my friend Ryan. And I'm just always like, it's such an emotional journey. I can't. How does one sit through it all? I'll watch an episode here or there, but it's not a show I rewatch. I feel like I let it live in that time I first watched it in.
He rewatches all of it?
Yeah, he's insane. Truly insane. I'm like,
How many seasons are out now? Like,
well, he watched it for the first time last year or 2 years ago.
Okay.
But we were recently talking, and he was like, yeah, I think I need to rewatch that. And I'm like, I could not do that. I'm not emotionally stable to watch Grey's all over again. And I don't think I ever will be. That was definitely, I think your teenage years are when you are not emotionally stable. So it like helps you. Yeah. Now I like being okay.
That's true.
Yeah. What about you?
So that was the young adult college, was the 30 Rock, Mad Men, and Arrested Development. And then I just have a couple for like adulthood, so late 20s and my 30s, which is where I'm now. So
Okay. Do you have a late 20s? I can't really think of anything.
so for late 20s, I went with Broad City,
Oh,
which
okay.
definitely was a very pivotal. That was the first show that I watched that had two female lead characters that were written by females, it was directed by females, and the females were not portrayed in the most flattering way.
Yeah.
They were and they wrote these characters for themselves.
Yeah.
So they knew what they're going to have to do, and they still did it because it was funny, it was relatable, and it took me a little bit to actually get into the rhythm of it because
Yeah.
it was so different.
Yeah.
But once you get into it, it is
Funny.
so good.
I watched that for the first time 2 years ago, and I was like, I can't believe it took me this long. Yeah, I loved it.
It was one of those shows that I just stumbled upon,
Okay.
like I think within the first season, and I didn't really know about it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm super excited about the show. I just kind of found it and
Yeah.
loved it from then.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. What else you got?
So I then have, I would say the late 20s, because yeah, this was definitely before my 30s, was Atlanta.
Yes, that's a good one.
It was that you could kind of group that in with those FX shows that started coming out around
that time.
that same time.
Yeah.
But Atlanta it is a amazing show. There's not one bad episode. There's just certain episodes that are really, really, really good, and then the rest of the episodes are just great.
I agree. And that's a show I always tell myself I need to rewatch because I think that is also a TV show. I don't do a lot of rewatches, but that's a TV show you rewatch and you're definitely picking up something new every time.
And I haven't rewatched it since it ended, and the ending was so good.
So good. I cried.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that if I rewatched it again, I'll see the connection a little bit more because I saw it, I see it, but I need to kind of watch it all in full to
I agree.
see exactly how we ended up getting there.
I agree.
So good.
So good.
And again, all those FX shows now are just
Pretty
really
up
good.
there, yeah.
Because this is about the same time that Fargo is coming out. What are some of the other ones? I'm drawing a blank, but they had some really good hits.
They did. Was You're the Worst around that time?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. I love that show. I didn't write that down, but now that I'm thinking about it, I really do love that show.
I like that show too. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about it.
No, they don't.
But it was on for many seasons.
Yeah, it was watched. I think I did try to check it out again. I don't think it ages well. But,
No, but it was still funny.
Right. Very funny. What else do you have?
So I just have like my 30s kind of summary. What about you?
Okay. So for my 20s, I think I was really then solidly into comedies. So, or like obscurity. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out because I was like pretty obsessed with it. It's a show called The League. It was on FX.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That show. Sorry, you talk about it.
I even started like a blog and made a whole post dedicated to The League. Like I loved that show so much. I felt like at the time it was the perfect thing of my humor. I was like, this is it. If you're like, Ellen, what is funny to you? This is it. 100%. Yeah, The League. So good.
It was so good. I don't know if I've watched the whole thing, but I think what people need to know about it, because if you go to look up what the premise is, it's about these guys that are in a fantasy football league.
Yeah.
And if you're like me,
Or like me.
I don't give a shit about that.
At all.
But it's not about that. It's not about that at all. I mean, that is kind of what the story works around, but it's about their friendship. It's about their marriages.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It is so funny.
So funny. Just like the best. It's so funny. I loved it so much. And then I wrote a couple of things, so I'm trying to like figure out which way I want to go. I also got into like dystopian sci-fi. And I'm going to give it to Fringe. I think Fringe was the show that opened up that world for me. And I've found more shows like it since then.
Wait, the show's just called Fringe?
Fringe.
Oh, Fringe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I've never heard the show Fringe. Tell me.
I think it was on Fox, but I'm getting all these networks wrong
yeah.
today anyway. But it doesn't matter.
It was on a network TV.
Yeah, and it's it's not on right now, so you can probably find it streaming somewhere. But Fringe broke my brain in the best way. Loved the premise, and it was just it was a whole different world of shit that could possibly happen, but probably not. And yeah, that was really defining for me, and that's when I realized I could be convinced that we're living in a simulation. Yeah.
I didn't watch that show. I did not know it was just like a dystopian kind of show, or like a future
an alternate universe.
Yeah.
I would say it's more of an alternate universe, not so much the future, but an alternate universe, because it's like they're doubles and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that's what it was about, so now I'm curious.
I loved it so much, and then that opened the door for me. Have you heard of Orphan Black?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved that. Like, just so many other shows came about and I really got into, but I would probably say my first ever go of those shows was Fringe, and that was really defiant. Like, it defined a bit of me, like the nerdy part of me that I want people to know more of, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say that's all those are my 20s. There's so much, like, I feel like that's where I've really watched a lot of TV. A lot. But I'm just going to give it to those two.
Yeah, that's again, we could talk forever about
Exactly
the TV shows that we loved, but those were the ones that I think between the two of us that that's what pops in your head, and when you really think about it, it defined either like you said, your love for this type of sci-fi or humor. Mm-hmm. You learn about yourself through these shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Your tastes and preferences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I guess you are just now starting your 30s. The only thing I wrote down for 30s is Apple TV. Apple TV came out around when I turned 30, and it's half the shows we talk about are on Apple TV. And so I'm just going to put Apple TV.
That's so funny. Okay, that's a hard question. I was going to say, what was the first one where you're like, oh shit, Apple TV's got this shit locked down?
Well, the first thing that I watched...
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
...was the morning show.
Yes, that was your first show, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we've also kind of discussed that we'll probably have, at some point, a whole episode about Apple TV, because there's a lot to say about it.
Yes.
It hooked me. I mean, the first season got me, and I was impressed because they had these big-name actors for their first show.
Yes. And then also, Michael Scott, what's his name?
Oh, Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. This was his first other TV role since The Office, I want to say.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was also a major thing. And I know when I watched it, I was like, whoa, in terms of his character on the morning show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but then we got Ted Lasso.
Yes.
And then they just started introducing these other shows that were just so different than what was on the other networks.
Yeah.
Or other channels, and I think that it's really turning into something really interesting. There are, except for maybe Prime Target, but for the most part, they're putting out these shows that are a high budget, really quality actors, unique stories.
Yeah.
I think that's what really stands out. They're really investing in these kind of little
ideas.
Yeah.
I agree. They definitely have the budget, and they are picking up shows that I feel like the other networks don't want to take the risk on taking on. And I think Apple TV, I mean, it seems like they have, we'll talk about it more, but it seems like they just have enough money to be like, you know what, here you go.
Well, that's because they charge us $1,000 for a cell phone.
They fucking do.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
This just popped in my head, but if we're talking about my 30s too, I have to mention Fleabag.
Oh, yes.
Fleabag, there's only 2 seasons, and that makes me so sad, but they are 2 of the most perfect seasons. The story, the way it ends.
Yeah.
Ugh. And you see her growth, and she's late 20s, early 30s, and so her feelings are very relatable.
Yeah.
And it's also a female character, directed and wrote by the actor Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect, and she's not painted in the best light all the time. And
That's what makes it so great.
and very realistic.
Yeah.
Well,
Fleabag.
more realistic, like emotionally realistic. You can
Yeah.
you can relate to it.
When I think of a perfect TV show, Fleabag is pretty up there. It's probably top 5 for me.
For
I don't
sure.
know anybody who's watched it that's like, oh, I don't like that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Are those the only? So you said Apple TV and Fleabag.
That's my 30s right there.
That's so funny. Okay, I didn't think of any because I just turned 30, but I want to do like a late 20s maybe.
Yeah.
Because you said Fleabag. Do I want to say this show? I do, because I think it really made me nerd out on. I realized I loved writing in my 20s, and then that also like really got me into. That's why I love TV shows. It's like I love the way people write stories and tell them, and I would say the show I May Destroy You. It was on HBO. Michaela Cole wrote, directed, created it, and the storytelling was so incredible. It made me geek out. It made me so happy. It was also like a dark topic, and I think the way it was also different. It was British culture, so it was like a different culture than the American culture. It was just a great TV show, and I remember watching it and also being very obsessed. And in my brain, I was like, God, if I could write something like this one day, life set. I probably will never, and I also don't think I want to attempt to. It'd be great if I could, but whatever. But that TV show really defined like the artistry or artist in me. Yeah,
That's interesting. I have heard of that show, but I have not watched it, so I'm definitely very curious the way that you've painted it.
that's great.
So maybe I'll add that to the
You should. It's
watch list.
a lot, but it's great storytelling.
How many seasons are there?
It was just one.
Oh, just one. Okay,
It was just
I can do that then.
Was it one? Yeah, just one.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. The other one I want to say, I mean, I want to say Succession. But it took me a while to get into Succession.
I'm not going to tell you what I did, but yeah.
We all know what you fucking did. Oh, God. What season did you do that?
I think I skipped season 1.
Okay.
Season 1 was, it was pretty boring.
It was so hard to get into.
So I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll just move forward.
Yeah.
I think I watched like the first 2 episodes of season 1. And I was like, well, let's go.
Yeah. I think I started to get into it. I tried it when it first came out. It was slow. It was like, okay, what's the point? It was also triggering. We were raised in family businesses. It was a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this to the side. And then the pandemic happened. I had time, and I started getting into it then. And I understood. I want to say, I think it was like the first 2 seasons were out by then. Maybe the third. But it was honestly the what's his name? L to the O to the G rap
Kendall.
that Kendall does that sold me. There was beautiful things happening before then, but it was in that moment where I said, oh, these people are fucking nuts. And I'm into this. Yeah, loved it. Loved that show.
I liked it too. I want to rewatch that show because I definitely didn't pay close enough attention to on the first watch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I just did not pick up on.
Yeah.
And then it would kind of come to a conclusion. I was like, okay, I didn't understand that was really a problem. So
Yeah.
I need to revisit it. But what I really liked about that show and why I kept watching it was just the feeling that they project to the audience.
Yeah.
It's tense, but it's comforting because it's like you're in a family setting.
Yes.
You feel scared and happy at the same time.
Yes, that's so true. That's, very, very true. It is very tense, but also comforting because I think they also did such a great job of making the audience understand these characters, like all their shit. So you could empathize, but then also not. And yeah, written so well, and they deserved every recognition they got from it. And it was also, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have it be one of the shows that defined me, because it was probably one of the shows that I could not just stop either like tweeting about or like posting.
Oh yeah, you were tweeting about it.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, and I think it was also one of those shows that made me be like, I need to have a platform where I just talk about shows I love, because clearly, like, who else is seeing this? Yeah, I need people to see more of this. Yeah,
I agree. That's why we're here.
exactly.
Anything else?
I had, and I don't know if this is like defining, but I had like reality TV shows, and I was like, what was my first like real big whoa? And for me, it was Jersey Shore. And I just wanted to put that out there. It didn't define me in any way, but I think I understood what reality TV shows were during that, from that show.
Mine was Teen Mom, and I still watch it. There's Teen Mom Next Chapter, where they've like just brought all of them together from all the different seasons. That's great.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
And it's interesting because, or why it's still interesting, at least to me, because you kind of talked about this with Love Island All Stars.
Yes.
Is that they're not teens anymore. They're not poor.
Yeah.
They've been on MTV. They have money, and so their lives have changed so much.
Yeah.
But they kind of still have their same problems.
Yeah.
They're still them.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see the growth, but not that much growth at the same time.
Their personalities. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, I think that's the episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do want to say we're on YouTube now, so we have video, as you have probably been seeing if you follow us on social media. So run this up on YouTube if you can.
And I was also going to say, so we want to have a sign off, and
Yes.
it was the one that was kind of being thrown around is go watch some TV. I think that we should put it on our listeners to maybe suggest some other ones.
Okay.
And we maybe get a couple and do a poll, or we can pick one of them.
Okay.
Because I do like that, but like we were talking, there's something
Lack
missing.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. So maybe we can get the aid of our listeners.
Okay.
All 5 of them.
Yeah, right.
So
Counting
my
on
neighbor and my husband.
Gotta shout everybody out. Shout out to for listening.
Julia.
Okay. That's it. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you watching? Are you watching this? Are you watching this? Yeah.